Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. And I'm here to help you. I'm not an attorney, I'm a loving father and husband. I have 42 years of marriage experience and have helped to raise 6 children. And I too was attacked by CPS. That's right, you heard me, attacked. I found out that the CPS system that I was involved in, the Orange County of California, is very corrupt. And I speak from experience. I've also been talking on this live stream now for 17 months. I've talked to over 1,000 people from not only the United States, but around the world. I've heard from Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and Libya, and then down to Africa, to Liberia, to Sudan, to Rwanda, Mozambique, and several provinces in South Africa. Then up to Europe, England, Scotland, and Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond to North America, to Canada, to 4 provinces there, and of course the United States, and all 51 I've heard from. Also heard from the District of Columbia. Then south of the border, I've heard from Mexico. Then further south to South America, North Brazil on the East Coast, Grenada. Then across the South Pacific to New Zealand, and then to land down under Australia and 2 states there. So it's well diversified of over 1,000 people I've talked to. And it's been a lot of live streams. And I have a wealth of information to share about my case, about talking to a lot of people on here. Many of you are family members of this podcast, with 25 to 30 that come on repeatedly both times. Now, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, and on the weekend at 8 a.m. Those are all Pacific Standard Times. The West Coast of California is where I'm broadcasting from. And then in the evening, I'm on all 7 days, Monday through Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm located in Surf City, USA, 3 blocks from the ocean. Now, I mentioned that I was attacked by CPS. Yeah, it was. It was a terrible experience in my life and something that I've really been hurt about it. But right now, I want to talk about you guys. How can I help you? Now, one way that I have here is you can interact in this live stream. You can show emojis, thumbs up, smiley faces, hearts, or you can check the box to follow me. I'd love for you to follow me and write reviews. Also, please check the notification if you want to know when I'm on. Now, another thing you can do is to write text messages, and that's what I got up here. When you're going to write a comment or a question, it's got to be about CPS. And please show me your first name, your city or county, your state, and if you're outside the United States, your country and provinces, or your states. Like Australia has states, and Canada and South Africa have provinces. Hello.
Hi, is this Robert?
Somehow, okay, I need to explain something. I have a computer that has fallen apart, and I apologize to my show producer, Grace, who worked behind the scenes, and apologize to KK Richardson, the first person in the room, and the other people listening to me. The reason why my mic was on mute, I got a call. It was an emergency call from the local police where I lived, and they needed to talk to me. Um, I'm, very actively involved in my city, and I'm on special reserves with um, the LA County um, lifeguards. I work on Baywatch. It's a special. It's not the show Baywatch. It's a special lifeguard. I've been a lifeguard all my life, and I've done some police work in the past. So what happened is that I forgot to remove myself from the screen because I needed to take the call. They have an emergency going on, and they needed my assistance. And again, I apologize to you, KK and Akima. KK and Akima are the same person, and um, she's from Brooklyn, New York. She does the same type of live stream that I do. And also, again, um, uh, so anyway, there's a lot of things I'm fighting with here, in my life. It's like everybody has issues, and sometimes they come at the unfortunate time. So anyway, I'm back in here trying to do a live podcast. And I want to thank everyone who's joined me. We were talking about how I can assist you and how I can help you with my case. And again, um, so anyway, I'm trying to communicate with my show producer to tell her that I had to take care of this problem. Okay, KK, it's so good to hear from you, or Akima, however you want to go. But what can I do for you today? Is there any new update about your case? KK has a horrible case where her whole family's turned against her, and she's trying to fight them. Mm. Um, so my train of thought's been really interrupted, and I apologize. Um, so if any of you are dealing with this entity, which I call the child protection system, it can be trouble for you because you don't know the good from the bad. You don't know what's rogued out there. Every state has counties, and every county has a child protection system. That's what I call CPS, a child protection system. And so, with that being said, you have to be careful when you're first approached by CPS. I've come up with 5 rules, 5, that would have helped me if I followed them in my case. Now, rule number 1 is you need to get the right kind of attorney. A court appointed attorney or a public defender or a criminal attorney will not work. You need an attorney that is trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. Dependency law is what the child protection system uses. And so you need an attorney trained in those areas. When you use court-appointed attorneys, they aren't trained in that area. They're trained in criminal law, they're fresh out of school, and they've gotten hired by CPS. Now, CPS, there are good and bad, as I was telling you. But what happened was in the 60s, the Congress in the early 60s mandated that there be an agency that would protect our children from neglect and abuse. It's very important, neglect and abuse. Examples of neglect would be not putting clothes on your children, not bathing your children, not putting them in school, not supervising your children, not feeding your children. That's all signs of neglect. Now, signs of abuse are physically hurting a child excessively, slamming a child against the wall, shaking a child who's an infant and their brain inside their head is being thrown around, pinching a child, using the wooden implements or whips or anything else against a child like cords or things like that, inflicting pain or suffering on them, beating a child, hitting a child in the face. Those are signs of physical abuse. Like if you're doing drugs and you leave your drugs around, your children get the drugs, that's neglect. You're not supposed to do any illegal drugs. You're not supposed to drink or smoke around young children and older children. Children defined under the age of 18. Those are called juveniles. And from the infant to that birth. So it's very important to get an attorney trained in that matter. That's the reason. At your first insight of getting involved with the CPS organization, there are ones of several ways. They can send you in the mail a warrant, or they can send in the mail a letter asking questions, or they can physically come to your residence. Now, if they come to your residence, they want to come in, and they usually bring a policeman with them. CPS uses a policeman for intimidations. The policemen are there supposed to protect the social workers. They're not supposed to be intimidators. They're supposed to work with you. And I just noticed the room messages are coming in. They're all jumped up. And if it confuses any of you, what it does, it hides my people from talking to them. So they will come to the home and knock. And my recommendation is that you don't answer the door. You never know who's at your door. And it could be a bad thing. Too many people have been shot and killed point blank. And I don't know why it's always a series of 5 bullets, but maybe that's all the gun can hold is 5 bullets. And the officer that shoots is probably strung out or something there. But I've heard so many cases of people being in there. Welcome back, Grace. I tell you that answer the door will open a can of worms. You're taught at a young age, don't answer the door to strangers. Police and social workers are. Now, I was telling you about the history where Congress, they signed into law to protect the children from neglect and abuse. Now, the agency they signed that to was social services. And social services created a CPS entity in every county, in every state, and I guess also worldwide. But in the counties, they'll have different names. That's why there's like several names that come to mind right now. Department of Children and Family Services. That's LA, California. The Child Protection System. That's Orange County. Then there is the Department of Children's Services in Arizona. Then there's the Cabinet in Kentucky. So I could go on, but it's too long and too lengthy. So what I've done is I use the letter CPS. Also, you'll find on the internet that CPS will bring up a lot of things. So it's universally understood. It's an organization that protects our children from neglect and abuse. The problem being is that some of these organizations have gone rogue and found out money is more important more important than family reunification. Now, that was supported in 1994 when President Bill Clinton signed into law the Incentive Act, where it says the federal government will pay the CPS entities, the government entities in every county, a bonus, like $10,000, $20,000 bonus for them to be adopted into foster care. And that way, that's eliminating family reunification. And that's sad. The rationale was that reunification takes too long. Well, the problem is the programs that some of the parents have to go through are 12 months long. And also, if there's criminal charges attached on to the CPS charges, then it's going to take longer too, because the criminal charges have to be taken care of first before CPS will solve their case. They're waiting for the outcome so that they can make their findings. That's why there's delay. So all this going on is very confusing. And I'm trying to tell you all this in 60 minutes. But in this 60 minutes, it's not enough time because there's so important thing that you have to do. That's why if you receive a knock at the door, you be quiet. If you open the door later and there's a piece of paper about them calling or something like that, that is your sign to get a hold of an attorney. Now, if you're outside and meeting these individuals, an easy way to get away from them is tell them, if this is regarding a legal matter, I need to be represented by my attorney. That is your constitutional rights. Anytime you're involved in a legal matter, you're supposed to have an attorney through all proceedings. That is a proceeding. So you very nicely tell the social worker, give them your name, and then say, I can meet with you, but I must have my attorney present. Don't tell them a date or a time, but tell them that you'll get back to them. Make sure you get their name and their phone number. Look at their ID. Social workers always wear an ID. Policemen always have a badge. So get the badge number, because policemen and social workers will lie. And so it does no good to have the wrong name. So get the right number, write it down, thank them, and be off your way. Do not go into your home, get in your car, and leave. And go to your families or friends, and then get a hold of an attorney. Now, I know there's a cost factor. All of you have the same problem I did. When I lost my job in the year 2010 through no fault of my own, first I was really saddened by it, because it really wasn't my fault. What had happened was I'd acquired a lot of contract work in construction, and the state of California and Caltrans decided to use a lot of the jobs that have been awarded to our company because they were having financial problems. And like Detroit, Michigan, California was on the verge of financial collapse. So what they did is they did a lot of things. They cut corners by letting a lot of people go. And then they used my contracts, which were in the millions, to keep the government going. And they wrote me IOUs. It was illegal. Now, I could have got an attorney and fight that, but my owner said he didn't want to fight. It's not worth it. His way was, I'm sorry, I have to let you go, but I have to let a lot of people go because I don't have the funds to keep you guys going. I need that money to produce the jobs. I know you have an agreement that they will do the job, but I can't wait it out. I even tried to go to banks to get credit lines, but I couldn't. And so I had to close the doors on general contracting, and it was sad. Now, for me to get a job at age 60, I didn't think it'd be a problem, but I found out later it was. In fact, I think some of my problems are related to CPS, because CPS starts a background on you and it's open to the public. And if you're involved in CPS, it is a stigma for you to get a job. My age is a stigma, which shouldn't be the case. And I've been trying for 15 years to get a full-time job. I had a job for a bit, but they kept reducing my work and forcing me to let go because they had no more work. It was their cop out to either didn't like the background about my CPS case or they didn't like me because of my age. But anyway, being an old dinosaur is not a problem. There's a gentleman a couple years older than me that's the president of the United States, and he has a job. So if the president can run the country, I can certainly do my job in construction, in the civil engineering. So you're working against a lot of issues, and I'm really sorry to say that. Hold on a second. Getting calls here. Oh boy. So so it is a hard decision. What I did after fighting CPS for 5 years without an attorney, I hired Vincent W. Davis. What I did is I quick sold my home. My home had a high value. I mean, it was phenomenally expensive. When I quick sell, you lose half of that value. I lost $1 million. I lost $1 million to sell my home. But my kids were so important that they stole. See, in 5 years, in 2015, they forced me to open my home and forced me to turn over the children. I did not know the laws. If I knew the laws, I would have said, I'm not going to my home. I'm not opening my home. I need to speak to my attorney, and you need a warrant. You see, the policemen and the social workers know you don't know about the laws in CPS. No one does. When you go through life, you don't get training in it. It should be a life skill that is presented to you when you're in high school, because in high school, you can think about marriage. And one of the pitfalls of marriage, besides divorce, is involvement with the Child Protection Agency. And afraid so many of them are corrupt. And the way that they do the investigation and the way that they take the cases down is terrible. It is terrible. They use two kinds of reporters: the lay person, which is like your family members, your friends, your acquaintances, your neighbors, people that don't work with children professionally. Then there are the professionals, which are your doctors and nurses and teachers, your firemen, your policemen. Anybody that works with children professionally has to report abuse or neglect. They take a special class, they're trained in it, and by law they have to. Which I have no problem with that. And 75% of the time it's true. There's still a 25% of the time they make false reports. And that's the problem. You are guilty until you're proven innocent. It isn't like all the other legal laws that you're innocent till you're proven guilty. So, it is a very difficult agency to deal with because they will take your children without asking, or they'll ask you and you think you have to turn them over. So by not letting them in your house, you don't have that problem. But if they have a warrant and the warrant is legit, you have to know what a warrant is supposed to be legit about. Because CPS and police will use fake warrants to do their thing, their evil thing, the evil CPSs. And there are a lot of evil ones out there. Over 1,000 people, including myself, have encountered them. Now, I don't have any more comments in here except KK Richardson and Akima Richardson, which is the same person from Brooklyn, New York. But I know you guys are in here. Now, somehow I had this up here and it got down again. Let me put it back up there. I like to have text messages so I can help you. Hello, Nisha. And Nisha says hello, Mrs. Akima. So Nisha says hi. Anisha NYP is from California City, California. She has a special case where her and her husband are accusing of breaking 11 bones in their child. But it isn't the bones that were broken by them. The child has a bone problem at birth. Rickets is a common name to say about it. Hi there, Nisha. You said you had court today. Hopefully, May 1st, my baby will be back home. Tell me more about what happened in court today. I'd like to hear the good news. So she was wrongfully accused of breaking the bones, her and her husband. But what it was is because of this bone degenerate disease, common name is rickets. The child was having bones broken at birth and by the nurses changing her diapers and holding her because people didn't realize that. So this loving couple is being blamed, and this zealous CPS agency is trying to hang them. That's the problem. They want the money. Now, I think the case is in what county was it? I forgot now. But anyway, they get $20,000 per child per month. Anyway, and they get it to the child is 18. So that's a lot of money. CPS is in the money to make money. They're a $1 trillion business. Not all CPS are bad, but a lot of them are. At least over 1,000 CPS entities are bad. And I've heard some from the same ones. And they come up all the time. All the time I hear from them. Not only California, but every other place. Okay, Nisha says, Kern County. Can you tell me what happened in court today? Can you tell me what happened in court today? Okay. I'd love to hear your story. Now, we're talking about the importance of my rule number 1 with getting an attorney and how they can enter your home. That's rule number 3. Now, there's only 3 ways to get in your home. Either you give them permission or someone in the family gives them permission. 2, there's domestic violence going on and the child is in danger and being hurt, they'll break in. And 3, if they have that court warrant. Now, if you don't open the door, you don't see the court warrant. But you need to follow soon because they'll be after you. They will not stop. But you need that attorney. I don't know how much I can impress upon whatever it does. Get that attorney. I wish I did on day 1. I wish I had told them, you can't come to my home. You're not opening my home. You need to speak to my attorney. And I would have gotten an attorney and give that information to them. I would have stalled them. There's nothing that says that you have to open the door or let the police or the social workers in your home. Only if they have a valid warrant. And I mean valid warrant. It's got to be on a piece of paper, not a PDF file on a computer. It's got to be very important, signed by a judge with a wet signature, ink wet signature, that there is an embossed stamp. the clerk of the court will take a stamp and crimp it, which raises the letters of the signature so no one can't forge it. Then it's got to have the date of when it was made. Now, if it was made on a holiday, whether it's weekdays or weekends, it's a bogus report. It's a copy report. Because you can only go into court on work days and non-holidays. You cannot go on the weekends or holidays during the weekdays. Court is not open. It's got to have specific instructions addressed to the people that they're accusing of. If it's a couple, both names will be on there. Also, it needs to list the children. Furthermore, it's got to list the allegations, negligence or abuse or both. Then there's got to be special instructions when they can investigate your house, the date and the time, and what they can do. They can talk to you or take your child or those are the two things there. Those got to be on there. If they're not on there, they can't take your child, and don't talk to them because everything you say will be used against you. It's very important that you're quiet about it. It's very, very important that you're quiet about it. Okay. Nisha says NYP that she's in Kern County. The expert said not child abuse. Well, that was good. Who was the expert? Was the expert from you guys or was it the expert from CPS? I was told that you can leave court. Wait, I was told you can't leave the court. I'm not sure. If your attorney says you got to stay in court, my case, they wouldn't allow me in court. They had me sit in the hallway, and they only brought me in when I had to sign something or listen to a final conclusion. But it's wrong. You should be in court the whole time, and it should be a jury trial. It should be a judgment by your peers. Now, some states allow jury trials, some don't. I'm still investigating that further, but it should be a jury trial. Now, besides text me messages, you can be a guest on my podcast. Nisha says the county, or the NYP says the county, and they closed the case, just asked a question. Okay, that sounds good. Welcome, Liana. What state do you practice in? I don't practice law. I told the beginning of my live stream, I'm not a lawyer. I have 15 years of experience of fighting CPS, and I too was a victim of CPS. If I did practice law, it'd be California, but my lawyer, Vincent W. Davis, will practice in any state. He can practice in any state. He has cases in Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Missouri. He has cases in Northern California, Southern California, Riverside County, LA County, San Bernardino County, and Orange County. So my attorney, Vincent W. Davis, can practice law there. So, Liana, I don't know where you're from, but I'd love to have your city or state where you're from and what kind of assistance you need about your CPS. So it was a county expert, I guess, from Kern County. If you have an open case, can you move county and they close the case? You don't want to move because you're going to have to finish the case. And the case is closed when you have something in writing and then you ask for it to be expunged. If you're found innocent, you need to clean your record because they'll stay on your record if you don't clean it. You need to clean your record. Nisha, if you want to call, by the way, I had put that message on the screen that if you want to be a guest on my live stream, you're going to contact my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com by email. Tell her you want to be in my morning show or afternoon show, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. You have 14 shows to pick from. She'll contact you and help you get on the show. I used a StreamYard application. I broadcast on YouTube. Now, another way that you can interact with this podcast is I would hope you'd call in. That's my number, 626-698-0990. The other number, 888-888-6582, is the law office of Vincent W. Davis. And if you call that number, make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you, and you can ask questions about when Vincent Davis is on his live shows, or if you have questions about hiring him, getting a retainer, like his rate is $500 an hour, and his retainer for LA County is $5,000. That starts at the low end, and the retainer goes up depending what county in California and what state in the United States, and it will do there. Remember, when he leaves the Southern California area where his home is, he needs per diem. He needs ground transportation to and from the airport, and to from the courthouse, and to a place where he's staying, his accommodations. He needs food. Also need airfare to get there. So all that is taking consideration of the retainer. But he's an excellent, excellent attorney. You can't go wrong. So my number's up there. That's 626-698-0990. It's a private office number, and I use Vonage as the application on the internet. Now, the other numbers I mentioned to you, you can also get books and other information. That ticket you see across the bottom is one of the sites that has information for Vincent Davis. It's called the Stand Store /attorney. You can order books or get consultation rates. I had another website, and I need to make another ticket, and I guess we got to do it more here. Let me put that up there. And my computer is making me jump all over the place with its words. So now this other website I have is called vincentwdavis.com. Now, there are two websites so that everybody can understand. There's the one that is the stand.store /attorney Vincent WD. There's this other website which is called vincentwdavis.com. Both of those can be reached. It's very important that you put in the HTTP :/ to get those sites. It's part of the web address. I forgot the S. I'm sorry. HTTPS : // and then you put vincentwdavis.com. or if it's the Sand Store, it's H TTPS // sand SAND .store STORE, and that will get you a / hold on a second, / attorney VWD. So I'll keep showing these tickets here so that you can see the two different websites. I had them combined onto one banner, but that's fine. They're separate websites. Now, the one that says the Sand Store are a list of books you can get. And one of the newest books I have out there is a grandparent's guide, step-by-step guide to get guardianship of your grandchildren. It's made for California, but work in other states. It's good for moms and dads. Now, that book is for $9.99, but if you use my discount code of PACE 50, and PACE is all capitalized, PACE 50, you can get 50% off that book. 50% off that book. Also, if you call in the 888-888-6582, they can give you information too. Just tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And if you ever do talk to Vincent Davis, please use my name and say that Bob Pace sent you. Now, one thing that's nice is you can talk to Vincent Davis for a free 15 minutes by calling into my show at this number, 626-698-0990. Or you can be a guest on my live stream. I can take up to 9 people as guests. So that will qualify you for a free private consultation on Zoom with Mr. Davis for 15 minutes. Now, if that's not enough and you need more time, I do have another website that I'm going to put up here that you can go to, and you can talk to him for 30 minutes for $60. Now, his hourly rate's $50. So this is a good bargain. That's 30 minutes for $60. All you do is go to the website https / candly.com /apps APPTS VWD / Bob Pace. It's a ticket running across the bottom of my screen. So he also, if you do the Sand Store or the website or the phone number, you can also get rates for his special consulting times. Like he has a 5-hour rate or 4-hour rate for $19.99. And that's certainly cheaper than $500 an hour, because those are 5 hours there at that store. I think it's 5 hours here. Let me do this all at the top of my head here. Okay. Let me see on my phone here. Okay. At the Sand Store, you can book a call with him for a one-on-one for 30 minutes. And that's $625. $625. So you can see it's more. Also, he can talk to you about your legal strategies. It's 4 hours for $1,997. So it's almost $500 an hour, but you get $3 off. And it's your legal strategy. And then he has another place where he can he has different rates. You need to check the most current rate that's up there. Now he shows, I have a website, $60 for 30 minutes. I've seen 30 minutes for $150 and for $312 and so forth. So anyway, he has help he can give you. So there's lots of ways you can talk to Mr. Davis. Now I have about 5 minutes left of my live stream. And I've been talking about the importance of rule number 1 and rule number 3. And rule number 2 is we need to document everything. And one of the most important documents is get that piece of paper where you track all your incidents. You use 3 lines per incident. First line is the phone number, the location, the date and the time, the people you talk to. The second line is a summary of what the incident was about. And the third line is the conclusion of the incident. If you don't have it, keep it blank, skip a couple lines, go to the next one. It's very important that you track all these incidents with the social worker, the policeman, with other parents, with the school, with your children, whatever it is, you write them down. It's called document. Now, I've talked about number 3. Number 4, before I forget number 3, there's also something called medical trafficking. It's a new thing out. The social workers are working in urgent care and the hospital, and they're taking away our children, whether you bring them in sick or you're having a child at birth. You got to be careful. Unless they have a warrant, they can't do that. But they're trying to round up children that way to make more money. So that's medical trafficking. Rule 4, as I mentioned, research the internet. It's very important for the ranking of words. It's very important to put your words correctly. Start off with the city and the state. And if you're from outside of the United States, also list the country. Then after that, you want to put the letters CPS. It's universally recognized. And when you do so, a lot of CPS will come up. But if you want to refine your research, put in there how to do a 388. What is a 160 hearing? What is the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978? There's lots of topics that you can find out. You can learn so much. I wish I'd done that. And of course, rule number 5 is make a collection of all the documents: driver's license, marriage certificates, children's birth certificates, shot records, grade reports. You make copies of those, keep them in an envelope with your notebook, and they will help you with your case. You just got to be careful and so forth. Now, with the amount of my time, I've already told my rules and how they interact with podcasts. There isn't much too left. I'm glad to see KK Richardson from Brooklyn, New York. She was one of the first people on. And then Nisha, which is NYP. And she's been on, and she had good news that they've dropped her case and she should get her babies back by May 1st. I'm so glad to hear from it. Lana, I don't know what state you're located in, but it'd be nice if you could tell me. I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong, but I don't know what your case is that you're having. So what I do want to say is that I am a loving father and a husband. I want to help you. This is a difficult time you're in. I found out that the person that reported us wrongly was my in-laws, my wife's family, her mother, her father, her 3 sisters, and her brother. And once a week for 5 years, they may have stories that were not true. We proved them wrong, but eventually they muscled their way into my home again and took my children that weren't in danger. You got to be careful about that. CPS organization that you can't trust because you don't know the good from the bad. Just be a good listener and take notes. Be a good listener and take notes. And be very careful what you said, because anything you say will be held against you. I'm sorry. They have no right to do what they're doing, but they're using a lot of hearsay. Fighting CPS is like doing open heart surgery. It's very technical. That's why you need a juvenile law, family law, dependency attorney. And Mr. Davis is that one with over 39 years of experience. And he also does lawsuits. When the case is over, he will sue the CPS for millions of dollars and has won millions and millions of dollars. So he's a good attorney to get to. What you need to do is you need to get two other attorneys to compare. And you need to ask them two important questions. One question is that, are you a juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney who's fought CPS and got children back? If the answer is yes, the second question is, have you, after the case is over, filed a civil lawsuit and won money back from CPS, either in state court or federal court? If the answer is yes, then that's one of your candidates you got to interview. And what you need to do is ask them for their 3 references so you can check them out ahead of time before you talk to them. Also call in and ask for 3 references from Vincent Davis. That way you're comparing apples with apples. Then after you've heard the 3 references, if they sound positive, then set up a meeting with them to talk about the retainer. And so when you set up the meeting to talk about retainer, your intent is to hire Mr. Davis or one of the other 2 attorneys. And you can see the chemistry between you and the attorney. If you don't have good chemistry or you don't feel like you trust the attorney, then don't hire him. Don't waste your money. Put your money with the attorney that will do you well. But Mr. Davis is easy to talk to. Now, again, I want to thank Akima Richardson from Brooklyn, New York, and NYP from California City, California. And also I want to thank Lee Nua, who I don't know where you're from, but hopefully you will tune in tonight. I'm live tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. God bless you all. Keep fighting for your kids. And this is Bob Pace signing off.